everyone, Comic Reviewer here, and this time reviewing on issue 3 of Spider-Gwen, the second run comic review. Now, as you know, this issue is meant to be the second run of Spider-Gwen. The first series ran for 6 issues, while this series ran for 38 issues. And the cover has a beautiful canvas style of Gwen Stacy by the bridge with a pregnant Jessica Drew. And it introduces the story that happened last time. And it starts off how on Earth 65 that Mary Jane and her friends now are getting ready to go to her aunt's cabin in the woods, and pretty much say that Gwen is going to show up and that she'll find a way. And of course, Gwen Stacy has been handcuffed, and Jessica Drew, since is pregnant, is basically having cravings, and pretty much are watching as Fall, who is meant to be Jane Foster, taking on a kind of monster creature, saying, "Where you needed the most." And of course, pretty much undoes the locks. And meanwhile, on Earth 65, you've got Ben Grimm, who never became the Thing, and Frank Castle, who's a police officer in that, are pretty much finding leads onto Spider-Woman, as well as what happened with Peter Parker and the Lizard, and also the Lizard fiasco, as well as things connecting with Matt Murdock, the Rhino, and so on. And of course, Gwen Stacy asks about her other counterpart, the main Marvel Gwen Stacy, and she's like, and you can tell Jessica, Drew knows about the whole bridge thing and says, the bridge, I forgot Peter told me about the bridge. Geez, what jerk told you about the bridge? And pretty much knows that whatever happened to Gwen Stacy was an accident, and that, this is the life she has now. And even Gwen Stacy starts to kind of wonder what her life would have been like had Peter been Spider-Man. And of course tells Jessica Drew tells Gwen to live her life to the fullest. And of course you've got Matt Murdock showing up with where basically Captain Stacy is, and tells him to get off his yard, and even says most people would say you've been a very lucky man, lucky enough to be saved by Spider-Woman twice, and even gives him his card in that. And of course Gwen Stacy returns back to her universe, which ends up with her putting in the wrong coordinates and ends up in the lake, falling into it, and of course heads back home soaked to the bone, with Randy saying, "Geez, Gwen, where how did you get here? And why are you soaking wet?" And of course, Gwen's about to go in despite Randy's protests, and turns out it's Harry Osborn, who has returned after 2 years, and is happy to see him again. And of course, they remember the good times, and of course, have a good time, basically remembering stuff. Even Gwen remembers what happened when Harry left the day, basically, Peter Parker died. And of course, Harry goes after Gwen and talks about how, basically, he felt responsible, as he basically knew who Peter Parker was when he became the Lizard. And pretty much he never knew what exactly made him think he betrayed him. And of course remembered that he just froze when Gwen Stacy as Spider-Woman took on the Lizard, and could have easily have stopped this. But of course Gwen says, "But Harry, he was out of control. Spider-Woman was just trying to help." he didn't know it was Peter. And to be fair, I get it, Harry is meant to blame himself, but even if it was Peter, there was no chance of him ever becoming normal again. So of course Harry points out that after his death, he basically trained in the army, trained by S.H.I.E.L.D., and ends up becoming basically the universe version of Green Goblin. And of course takes off saying, "I'm the only one who can bring Spider-Woman to justice," and takes off into the night. And yeah, not a bad issue. So I feel issue 3 isn't too bad. I think the thing is, they do sort of rush Harry Osborn as the Green Goblin, and I kind of feel if they took more time with Harry Osborn, like him admitting some guilt, like they did, and him becoming like Massacre or something, as I feel him becoming the Green Goblin was meant to be a kind of passing the torch thing. And I kind of feel the Cabin in the Woods story is there, but slightly not. So I think the story deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.